Welcome to video 12 of the Blueprint of Life series. In this video, we're going to be looking specifically at meiosis and how the process of meiosis brings about variation within a species due to the two processes of crossing over and segregation of chromosomes. So during the preliminary course, we looked at meiosis and the phases which make up the process of meiosis. And it's a series of two cell divisions that produce four gametes, both with a haploid number of chromosomes. So when we produce these gametes are reliable for fertilization that produces offspring. Each gamete, so each of the sex cells produced during meiosis, only contain one allele for each characteristic, which is how we bring about our genetic crosses that we've done previously. Chromosomes, when they participate in meiosis, there are two stages in which the process of meiosis can bring about some genetic variation. And one of those is crossing over, and the second is the random segregation and independent assortment of chromosomes. This means that the haploid cell can produce a new combination of parental genes, resulting in variation in offspring. So crossing over is the process by which the arms of homologous chromosomes exchange genetic material. So genes that occur in the same chromosome are said to be linked, and the process of crossing over allows the linked genes to be inherited independently of each other. So there are things like hair color and eye color that are linked. During this process, they can be inherited independently. So because of this crossing over, there is a mix of paternal and maternal genes, which increases the number of combinations of genes that may be inherited by offspring from these gametes. So here we have a diagram which shows us this process. So we can see that the homologous chromosomes line up, and they in fact line up with the chromatids in the one line, and then there is a chiasma, which is this break in the chromosomes, and these chromatid ends that are now produced can join up to the wrong pieces, so join up to the alternate chromosome. Then we see the homologous chromosomes move apart, and then they're in fact moving apart with a mix of the paternal and maternal genetic material. And then we have the segregation and independent assortment of chromosomes, and that the separation of chromosomes occurs during anaphase, and this separation is random, which is really important in producing haploid gametes. So the parental and maternal chromosomes separate independently of each other, and the specific chromosome from each pair that ends up in a gamete is random. So this means that there can be any number of combinations of these maternal and paternal chromosomes, which increases genetic variation. In terms of variability, the gamete formation produces variability as they can vary genetically from each other due to meiosis, the process we've just discussed. In sexual reproduction, the fertilization of these gametes that are produced does produce an individual with a unique combination of genes. The process of fertilization is a random process, so there are a range of gametes that have a range of different genetic combinations that can fuse together to fertilize during the process of sexual reproduction. And specifically, a particular gene may have an increased number of alleles that may increase variability. So not all genes have the same number of alleles available. A greater variability is in fact advantageous as it improves the ability of a population to adapt to changes, which can increase survival when these changes do occur, because when there is no variability, populations that have no variability are less likely to be able to adapt to these changes. The other task that we're going to complete in class this week, apart from going over these two processes in a bit more detail, is creating a model of meiosis to demonstrate the processes we've discussed, including crossing over and the segregation. That's video 12. Make sure you're in class to receive a bit more of an explanation, but also tune in for video 13.